Good morning, students. We are talking about food security and nutrition under economics lesson 3. In the last class, we talked about what is food security, what are the definition and basic components of food security. Under that, availability of food, access to food and absorption of food. These are the three basic components. And then why we introduced green revolution and how we introduced green revolution to increase agriculture production. Then the role of Food Corporation of India, minimum support price and buffer stock. And not only that, how the government is distributing the products to the consumer, that is under public distribution system. Then we finished with cooperative societies under food security. In today's class, we'll talk about purchasing power, what are the factors affecting purchasing power, agriculture policy in India, and multidimensional nature of poverty. We'll see one by one. First one is about purchasing power. Purchasing power is a value of a currency expressed in terms of the amount of goods or services that one unit of money can buy. That is, while we are buying any product, how much unit of money we are spending. That's the meaning of purchasing power. Actually, this purchasing power is closely linked with the capabilities and employment opportunities to earn. That is, the people's level of income and level of employment opportunities. So that's the meaning of purchasing power. That is, according to our income, we'll purchase certain things with our money. Then next one concept is about purchasing power parity. So purchasing power parity, a concept related to purchasing power is purchasing power parity. So PPP, purchasing power parity, it is an economic theory that estimates the amount that needs to be adjusted to the price of an item. That is how we are adjusting our money while we are purchasing certain things. So that's the meaning of purchasing power parity. While considering this purchasing power parity, considering the world countries, the leading economy is Chinese. So first country stands is China, and second one is our USA, and third is India. So you know it, China and USA are the developed countries. Among the developing country, India stands third position in the world economy under purchasing power parity. Even though India stands third position under purchasing power parity, some factors are affecting the purchasing powers of the people. Now we'll see one by one under the factors affecting. First one is about overpopulation. Basically, India is a second populous country in the world next to China. The population growth rate in India is as high as 1.7 per thousand. So population growth rate increases for 1.7 per thousand people. Large population leads to increasing demand, but supply was not equal to the demand. So here demand is from the consumers, that is from we people, and supply is from the producers. So here in the highly populated countries, here the supply is not equal to the demand. So that is the first factor. Then second one, increasing prices of essential goods. The continuous rise in the prices erodes the purchasing power and adversely affect the poor people. So essential goods means our daily groceries, that is our rice, dal, fruits, vegetables, what are the thing we'll use it for our daily consumption comes under essential goods. So here in countries like our India, the essential goods prices are increasing, and that will also affect the purchasing power. Now consider the present situation. The onion price shoots up to 150 rupees per kg. So people are unable to buy, as well as people are buying very less quantity of these products. Then third one, demand for goods. When demand for goods increases, the price of goods increases, then the purchasing power is affected. When people will demand certain things, here automatically the price will increases for that. So that will affect the purchasing power. So that is the third factor affecting purchasing power in particularly in India. Fourth one is price of goods affect the value of currency. When the price increases, the purchasing power decreases, and finally the value of currency decreases. So the value of currency means what the money we have will lose its value. Then next one, production and supply of goods. The production and supply of goods decline. The price of goods increases. Then the purchasing power is affected. Here the production and supply, that is the producers, they will produce certain things and supply to the market. When that will decline, automatically the price will increases. So whenever there is less decrease in supply leads to increase in price level, and that will affect the purchasing power of the people. Then next one, poverty and inequality. Generally, there exists a huge economic disparity in the Indian economy. That is, disparity means differences. The proportion of income and assets owned by top 10% of Indian goes on increasing. That is, the assets owned by the people will be increased nowadays. That is, people are richer and richest nowadays, and this has led to an increase in the poverty level in the society. There is a wide gap between haves and have nots. So that led to this kind of inequalities in the economy. So when people are very poor, they are unable to buy certain commodities for their daily consumption. So these are the factors affecting purchasing power in India. Whether you understood this one? The next we'll move on into agriculture policy in India. A new agriculture policy based on export of agricultural goods was announced by central government in 2018. That is, recently central government introduced a new agriculture policy for the export of agriculture products, and this policy states that government decided to remove export restrictions on most organic and processed agricultural products. So the government is restricting, that is removing the restriction for the export of organic products. So whether you heard about these organic products, that is, farmers are cultivating their products by using organic manures. Okay, that comes under organic products, and people are also demanding this kind of organic products. There is a widespread demand for organic products in the world countries. Then processed agricultural product, that comes under the instant food items. So government introduced this new policy for export of agriculture goods in 2018. So this agriculture policy is designed for the to improve the agricultural production. Simply to improve the agricultural production, government introduced this new policy in 2018. Under this new agriculture policy, now we'll talk about what are the basic objectives of India's agriculture policy. First one, raising the productivity of inputs. One of the important objectives of India's agriculture policy is to improve the productivity of inputs, so purchase like HYV seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, irrigation projects, etc. That is inputs. So to produce agricultural commodities, we want to add certain things. That is, basically we need a good seeds. That comes under high yielding variety seeds, fertilizers to increase the production, pesticides to control the pest in the crops, and irrigation, that is for watering projects, construction of dams, canals, like that. all that comes under this irrigation projects. So to increase this kind of inputs in agriculture, government introduced this agriculture policy. Then second one, raising value added per hectare. Agriculture policy is to increase per hectare value added by raising the productivity of agriculture in general and productivity of small and marginal holding in particular. That is to increase the area of construction, that is value added per hectare of land. We want to raise the productivity of agriculture both in general as well as even the small scale farmers and marginal land holders. So they want to increase the value added per hectare, that is the government is insisting them to use this kind of HYV seeds, so that they can raise the production. Third objective is protecting the interest of poor farmers. Agriculture policy is proposed to protect the interest of poor and marginal farmers by abolishing intermediaries through land reforms, expanding institutional credit support to poor farmers, etc. That is, the government is protecting the poor farmers by the new policy of abolishing intermediaries. Intermediaries means like agents. So in that agricultural production, we have plenty of agents will play while buying seeds, by buying fertilizers, and same way, and finally to sell the final product in the market, we have many agents. So government abolish means remove this kind of intermediaries through many land reform policies, and expanding institutional credit, that is through cooperative society, government is giving free loans for agriculture farmers. To the aim of the government is to protect the interest of poor farmers. So in that way they made this agricultural policy. The next one is modernizing agriculture sector. That is, this policy support includes the introduction of modern technology in agricultural operation and application of improved agricultural inputs like HYV seeds and fertilizers. That is, modernizing agriculture. So basically our agriculture sector lack in technology. So to remove this kind of barrier, government is introducing modern technical application in the field of production as by using HYV seeds and fertilizers. So this will automatically increase agricultural production. Then next one about environmental degradation. That is, agriculture policy of India has set another objective to check environmental degradation of natural base of Indian agriculture. Even though if we want to increase agriculture production, we are using many fertilizers, so that will affect our environment. So government is making policy to check this kind of environmental degradation from agricultural sector. The last objective in agriculture policy is removing bureaucratic obstacles. That is, bureaucratic means high authorities, obstacles, that is, which will affect the farmers. The policy has set another objective to remove bureaucratic obstacles on the farmers, cooperative societies and self-help institutions, so that they can walk independently. That is, bureaucratic people. That is same way that just before that I told about agents. That agents are considered as bureaucratic obstacles. That is, they made obstacles means thadai. In Tamil we say thadaigal. Okay, to remove this kind of obstacle, government introduced cooperative societies and self-help institutions for their credit facilities. So the farmers, they can walk independently, not only for money alone, for buying this kind of HYV seeds, fertilizers and agricultural technical goods, they can use this cooperative societies. So far we talked about agriculture policy in India. That policy was introduced by central government in 2018, especially for the export restrictions, that is removal of export restriction on most organic and processed agricultural products. Under that, it is based on the 6 objectives. First one, raising the productivity of inputs, raising value added per hectare, protecting the interest of poor farmers, modernizing agricultural sector, environmental degradation, removing bureaucratic obstacles. So these are about the agriculture policy in India. Now we'll talk about the next important concept of this lesson, multidimensional nature of poverty. Multidimensional Poverty Index was launched by United Nations Development Program, that is UNDP, and the Oxford Poverty Human Development Initiative in 2010. These are the world organization. They made this multidimensional theory. So under this multidimensional poverty index that was started in 2010. Multidimensional poverty is made up of several factors that constitute poor people's experience of deprivation, such as health, education, living standard, income, disempowerment, quality of work, and threat from violence. So these are the 10 indicators of multidimensional poverty. Now look into this picture. So there are 3 dimensions of poverty. First one is about health, second education, third living standard. Under this health, first one is about nutrition. That is how people are getting nutritious food for their life. Then second, regarding child mortality. Mortality means death rate. That is those newborn babies, they die due to malnutrition of their mother. So the death rate from 0 to 3 years, that comes under child mortality. These 2 concepts related to our health. Then second one is about education. Years of schooling. So basically you know it, from 5 years to 17 years one boy or girl will be in the school. Suppose if they are failed, so they will continue their schooling. So that comes under years of schooling. And school attendance, that is due to their poorness, people they won't come to school, so they have poor attendance in the school. So that indicates the education level of people. Then third one, living standard of living of the people. Regarding this living standard, we consider first one, cooking fuel, that is how many people are using this LPG system, or they are using some other method. Then sanitation, whether their living condition, whether they are living in a clean and tidy environment. Water, considering drinking water as well as an ordinary water, how far people are fetching to this water. Then whether electricity is provided for them. And next one is about floor, that is how their floor will be in their houses. That is, you know it, think about the poor people, they have only the mud floors. Then asset, what are the type of assets they possess. So all these six factors that denotes for the standard of living of the people. So these are the 10 indicators of our multi-dimensional nature of poverty. Whether you understood this one, actually we have 3 dimensions: health, education, living standard. Under health, we are differing that into nutrition and child mortality. Education, years of schooling and school attendance. Living standard, using cooking fuel, sanitation, water, electricity, floor and assets. So this is about the multi-dimensional nature of poverty given by UNDP, that is United Nations Development Program. While we are seeing the report of multidimensional poverty index of 2018 for Tamil Nadu, it shows a significant progress in poverty reduction. The districts in Tamil Nadu are classified into three categories, that is namely high poverty districts where more than 40% of population living below poverty line. So in here we have poverty line, that is one who is able to consume minimum of 2300 calories of food. Actually a man need 2500 calories. Regarding this poverty, we are considering 2300 calories of food per day. So those who are not able to consume 2300 calories of food, they comes under this poverty line. Under that 40% of population living, that is the first category, high poverty districts. Then second one is moderately poor, that is between 30 to 40. Then low level poverty district, that is below 30% of population. While we are considering Tamil Nadu, Kanjipuram, Chennai, Kadalur, Coimbatore, Nagapattinam comes under the top 5 district, comes under the first category. Then we have high poverty district comes under Dharmaburi, Perambalur, Ramanathapuram, Virudunagar and Ariyalur. The remaining districts comes under moderately poor districts. So we have low, that is high level of poverty we can see in the districts of Dharmaburi, Perambalur, Ramanathapuram, Virudunagar and Ariyalur. Where you can see low level of poverty in Kanjipuram, Chennai, Kadalur, Coimbatore, Nagapattinam. Then the remaining districts comes under the moderately poor districts. While we are seeing the progress of Tamil Nadu after 2005, the poverty reduction in the state has been faster than in many other states in India. So among the Indian states, Tamil Nadu is the leading in the reduction of poverty. Then not only that alone, Tamil Nadu leads in the poverty alleviation programs during 2014 and 17. So poverty alleviation, that is removal of poverty. Government of India and Government of Tamil Nadu are using or adopting many poverty alleviation programs in the state and the country, and through that, especially in Tamil Nadu, we are reducing this poverty level in our Tamil Nadu. So if it continues, one day there is no any people live in poverty line in Tamil Nadu. We'll hope for the best. Students, in today's class we talked about purchasing power. Regarding purchasing power is the value of a currency expressed in terms of the amount of goods or services that one unit of money can buy. Then regarding purchasing power parity, India stands third position. First one is China, second USA and third is India. Then we talked about factor affecting purchasing power. Then agricultural policy, which was introduced by central government in 2018 to remove the export restriction for organic and processed agricultural products. Then we talked about the objectives of agriculture policy. Then multi-dimensional nature of poverty. This index was launched by United Nations Development Program and Oxford Poverty Human Development Initiative in 2010. We have 10 indicators, that is nutrition, child mortality, years of schooling, school attendance, cooking fuel, sanitation, water, electricity, floor and assets. These are the 10 indicators of multidimensional poverty. Then regarding the multidimensional poverty index of 2018 for Tamil Nadu, it shows an overall change by considering the other states of India. So we are classifying Tamil Nadu districts into three categories, that is high poverty districts, low poverty districts and the moderate poverty district. After 2005, the report shows the poverty will be reduced in Tamil Nadu, as well as we are increasing the poverty alleviation programs. I hope you understood this one. If you have any doubt, you can ask me at any time. Always you are welcome to clarify your doubts. Thank you, Ma.